Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Renu. Before we get started, I'll go ahead and very quickly introduce myself. I'm David Green, the Senior Content Marketing Manager for Contacto. Contacto is a cloud contact center that is powered by Plivo's trusted cloud communications platform. It is the most reliable cloud contact center solution on the market. Contacto unifies all customer communications into a single view, providing agents with the continuous context necessary to deliver more human and personalized interactions with their customers. So that's a quick little overview of me and Contacto. But Renu, I'll go ahead and pass this off to you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, David. So I'm Renu. I have been a part of the support industry for about 12, 13 years now. And out of those 12 years, 6 years have been with Plivo. So I joined Plivo as one of the shift managers 6 years ago. And because, we provide 24/7 support to our customers. So we work in shifts, APAC, EMEA, US. And for the last 3.5 years, I've been taking care of the entire support function. And I'm really excited to talk about, how support has impacted as an industry has changed and evolved over the years, because this is something that we've been working on. And I've noticed this shift from the time that I joined, where customers would only reach out to us when they had questions, they wanted answers and wanted to move on, versus now where everything has changed a lot. And so I think Contacto would be a great tool, but also how can other support teams use it and implement it to improve their support function is something that's very close to my heart. So I'm excited about this conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really, really wonderful to hear. We're really excited to have the conversation and to get a little bit of insight from your expertise in this particular space. So with that, I'll go ahead and dive right in. If you want to, step aside or go off down any other lines of thinking, please let me know, but we'll just go ahead and dive right in with our first question, which is, how has the landscape of the customer support industry evolved in the past few years, and what key factors from your perspective have been the most impactful?
That's a great question. So it's evolved significantly. Nothing is same as it was 10 years ago. 10 years or so ago, when I started my journey, I started it as a support representative for Bank of America. And I was managing calls. And that was the only way that customers could get in touch with us. There was no email support. There were no other alternate channels that they could reach us out to. All the businesses cared about was that there is a voice, a person for customers to interact with. But now there are so many choices. If a business makes it hard to get help, customers can take their business elsewhere. Support is not limited to just phone support. It evolved to email support and now live chat, social media. Social media started out as a marketing platform, but right now it has become a major channel for customers to interact with businesses. To give you an example, once a week, if we feel like a customer would escalate something on Twitter because they felt that they were not getting a response from the support agent. So it's a voice of the customer. And similarly, support. It is not just a transactional reactive support that it used to be. It is now proactive. It needs to be personalized. It needs to be experience driven. It is no longer a cost center, but an opportunity to differentiate from competitors and build customer loyalty. It is moving more towards a strategic department, which is capable of driving improvements across the business. So I feel like anything that we thought or knew about support is not true today. It has evolved into so much more than it was, and all in positive ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to even imagine what all the technology that we live with today looked like 10 years ago. I mean, so much can change in such a short amount of time. And it really just goes to speak about the importance of modern technology in your business. So that's really, really great to hear. Thank you. The next question that we have here is, what are the biggest challenges that customer support reps face today, and how can those be overcome?
Sure. So if you look at, to talk about a little bit, and I keep going back to the past just because to show like how much the work has changed. And what support representatives were supposed to do is when they join, they would be given trainings on products, and they would be shared processes that they need to follow in case they are working on a customer query. But those are things that can be taken care of by AI and automation now, because there are FAQs available to customers, online communities that they could look at before reaching out to support. A customer has so many options and forums to go and review or look for what they want. Reaching out to support is their last option, which also means that there are more challenges, because one is support agents now no longer have to just follow processes. They are also supposed to come up with innovative, creative workarounds or solution for the customer, which means that they have to stay updated on the product changes. Products, companies are coming up with more product enhancements on a day-to-day basis, which is something, so which means regular trainings, regular refreshers that need to be provided to support reps and agents. Customers also expect their solutions or their issues to be resolved as soon as possible. So they expect fast, they expect first contact resolution, which means that we need to empower representatives with decision making. This is not something that they had to do before. Before, if there was an escalation, if they did not know something, they could involve a manager and the manager would take care of it. Versus now, where most of the things that they need to work on are complex issues. So they cannot, if they have to reach out to a manager for everything, the manager becomes a bottleneck. So that information and that decision-making power needs to be transferred to the agents and not the managers. Also, working remotely, I do want to touch upon it, because remote work has impacted everyone. However, but especially teams which work in have to work in teams. So support is, it was so much more easier if we know that there's an outage happening. So we can say there are 5 tickets that we've received for this. It looks like there's a Plivo issue that's happening, or this customer is irate about this. Has it impacted other questions? So it was so much more easier to find trends. It was so much more easier to brainstorm. If something is happening, okay, what do we want to do? And you can share that information with the rest of the team because they are available in front of you. But support agents now, to share that information, you have to use mediums like Slack or Teams, and which means you as a team member do not know if everyone has the same understanding about the problem, or they have this, would they be able to handle the same issue the same way? So it has become way more difficult. Also, while the problems are becoming complex, but the work remains mundane. It is working on customer questions, responding to customer questions. So it is also becoming more and more relevant to ensure that we meet with our teams regularly, share how they are performing, do off-work catch-ups, talk to them. It is so much more harder to connect and know your team members. So ensure that you are facilitating team meetings where it's just not about work. It's also about getting to know the team members. So I feel like it's a different kind of world that's becoming, that's changing for support, in a good way and a bad way. Good way because the work is becoming more challenging and complex, but bad way because it's just harder to ensure that all your team is on the same page with respect to trainings, refreshers, etc.
Absolutely. And I imagine that, the systems that you use regularly also factor significantly into the ease of working remotely and some of the challenges that you mentioned here with being able to communicate effectively with your team and make sure that all the support tickets and requests are answered in, a quick and clear way. So yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. In your opinion, what are some of the most important qualities or skills that a customer support rep should possess to excel in their role?
That's a great question as well. And this is something that when I am interviewing candidates, I always ask them, like, what are some of the qualities that they think? Because unlike other roles, support, as I said, gets mundane. So, you are always talking to a customer. Customers, how your work day is going to look like changes as per which customer you're talking to. If you're talking to an irate and angry customer, you're going to be in that mood. So, you need to be able to empathize with the customer, separate yourself from their emotions and still continue to work. So I feel like resilience, empathy, patience are some of the most critical skill sets that an agent should have. If not, they would find the work challenging. If you are able to feel exactly how your customer is feeling, then you'll be frustrated. You would not enjoy the work. So you need to be patient and you need to drive that conversation towards a solution versus engaging with the customer in some of these scenarios. Time management is a critical skill. Unlike other roles, support is not a project-based role. So you're not assigned a project which will have a deadline of 2 weeks. You are assigned tickets or calls on a daily basis, and you have to ensure before you log out, you either work on those tickets or you hand them off. So it means that essentially everything that's coming to your bucket, you should have a plan about what you would do at the end of the day when you log out. Business communication, understanding the products is one part of it, but how you relay that communication or information to the customer is a different part altogether. So you should be able to understand what the businesses are doing, but also convey them in a layman's term, because not everyone would understand the terms and jargons that you use industry-wide. So you have to ensure that you make it simple for the customer to understand. Teamwork is also a critical skill, because you have to work, most of the times you have to work with the team. You have to either work on, if someone is on leave, you have to cover for them. If someone's available, if you're working on someone else's ticket or call, then you need to be able to have all the information. So collaboration is an important skill set that you need to bring to the table. And two new critical skills that I feel like support agents need to now build is also problem solving and decision making. Right now, you cannot just follow processes. You have to come up with you have to look at it from a problem solving approach. Okay, the customer is facing this. I don't have a guideline to how to resolve this, but I still need to. So what should be my next steps? And then quickly able to decide, because if you're not able to, you're delaying that resolution. So these are also two important skills that a rep needs to build. But I feel like a combination of all of this is what makes a good support agent or representative.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like all of these different skills that you've listed out, they really kind of come together in a cohesive way to create somebody that needs to be able to be quick on their feet and adapt and support their team members in a way that is very important for a rep to take seriously. I did want to circle back on the time management skills. If you're being brought new tickets on a daily basis, it does seem like it'd be kind of hard to even plan your day out, just because you may get more tickets coming at you than you expect. What have been some of the unique challenges or any personal anecdotes or ways that you approach that on a daily basis, just to make sure that you can stay on top of that?
I think communication. We have multiple Slack channels just so that reps can let us know what are they going through. So let's say if there's a trend that we see. If we are receiving too many tickets, it would be about the same topic, either because let's say there's an outage going on at a carrier's end. So you will start seeing multiple tickets. That would increase the number of tickets. However, the solution to all of them is the same, because we need to go back, check when would it be resolved, and then relay it back to the customer. So if we are communicating and if people are letting us know that we have started to receive a lot of these tickets, then the shift managers or leads can also step in, check what's happening, and ensure that everyone knows what the next action plan is. Collaboration and teamwork is also plays into it, because let's say you received a lot of tickets today, but you're not able to get through and work on all of them. Then you can let your team members know or hand them off to the next shift. Let them know that I wasn't able to do this because I was busy with this escalation, and someone else can cover for you. But then tomorrow you may have to cover for that person. And then meeting your team often and understanding what are the number of tickets that they're receiving, if you have, which means that you may have to plan for hiring. You may have to plan for training team members on additional products. So I feel like it starts with communication and teamwork. Those are the solutions. But if you continue to inform people, it becomes easier for you to come up with the next action plan.
Absolutely. Sounds like you're surrounded by some really good people on your team. So that's really wonderful to hear. Awesome. So I wanted to go ahead and ask you, how can the right tool elevate a customer support representative's ability to properly address a customer's needs?
So much. Like, I feel like if you don't have a good tool, a support rep would have to do way more than they are supposed to. For example, it starts from a really basic task, which is to be able to assign tickets to the right agent, right? A lot of teams have an L1 team or a beginner team where they would receive the tickets, they would go over and then assign the tickets to someone else. However, if this task can be taken care of by the tool, we'd eliminate the need for that team, but also reduce delays, because then the ticket goes to the right person. The routing could be based on skill set, it could be based on engineer availability, it could be based on the products that they're receiving. There are just so many ways to play with it if the tool has that ability and capability. Also, we've been talking about personalized support. Customers, they are expecting an experience, and that experience can only be given if you have all the information about customers. So with Plivo, we use Salesforce for sales and Zendesk for support, and we've integrated both the systems. So any information that we have about a customer on Salesforce also flows to Zendesk. So we are able to see, before an agent even responds on the ticket, they can see who the customer is, what is their revenue, who is the CSM associated with an account, how long have they been a customer for, and any decision making that you have to take, whether that is to engage the account manager or to escalate it to the engineering, becomes so much more easier because you have that information. Now you don't have to go log into Salesforce, find out. So it saves so much time for the support agent. The ability to collect feedback from customers, not just at the end, towards the end of the ticket closure or phone call closure, but even during the time. Let's say you're interacting with a customer, and after 5 interactions, you are not reaching anywhere. So you want to escalate it to the next person. Now, if the tool has that ability, a customer is in control, he can say, I'm not getting the right help from this person, so let me escalate it. So the customers become more proactive, but also your support becomes more proactive, because now you're not waiting for a ticket to be closed, for a customer to give you a DSAT, and then you go back to the customer and say, I apologize, we were not able to resolve it, right? You can resolve it. You can step in when required and help out the customer. So I feel like that adds so much more to the customer experience. Even the ability to have a detailed knowledge base or FAQ section, because as we talked about, customers would want to look for answers themselves before they reach out to support, because they know that that's the easiest. This is where they can resolve their own, answer their own questions, and don't need to interact with anyone. So having an ability to have that is such a plus and such an add-on. And it also helps engineers, because then it reduces the number of tickets that are coming in. So they have to work on less tickets, and they work on things that they can actually provide a solution for, or add a human touch, or for. And the last piece, I think, which is very critical, is reporting and analytics. Customer data, and by customer data, I mean ticket data. It is such an important tool if you use it the right way. You can see month on month, day on day, what kind of issues are you receiving? What product is it for? Is there a gap in the product that needs to be filled? Is there a communication that went out that we did not communicate the right way? So there's so much insight that data can provide you, and then it can help multiple teams, not just your team, in resolving issues faster, but also other teams. So I feel like if you don't have the right tool, you'll struggle, because then you will have to download raw data and then create your own reports or assign tickets manually. You add on so much more versus a right tool where it can do all of these things for you. So all you have to focus on is just resolving a customer's issue.
Sure. So it does sound like the proper technology would provide agents with all the tools that they need to make their job easier for the primary purpose of elevating the customer's experience. So it really is both about making your world easier and the customer's world easier at the same time. Awesome. Well, yeah, with the rise of self-service options and automation, then how do you see the role of customer support representatives evolving in the near and distant future?
I think most of the impact I see is going to be a positive impact. But however, there's also slight negative impact, and not just agents. I think it's to the support industry. The focus always used to be on having a large support team. I have 1,000 members in our team. We can take care of our customers. But with AI and automation, maybe out of the 2,000 tickets that you receive, 500 can be taken care of by AI and automation, right? So the number of support teams or size of support teams would reduce in the future. However, everything else that support reps were doing, the skill sets that they need to have, whether they have a clear growth path or not, if that growth path is fast or not, because there are now less number of people. So they are able to have a more valuable contribution to the organization as a whole. The work becomes more challenging. So you are constantly learning and evolving as well. So I feel like most of the changes that I see are positive, just because now it is not going to be just, you're not just entering data somewhere. You're also contributing as to how to solve this problem. You're also become a customer advocate, because you can go back and say, this is the experience our customers have. This is what needs to change. For example, in the beginning, when we started working, we would also receive questions about account closures. And we realized that someone highlighted in one of the team meetings, why are we doing account closures? Why is the tool not capable of handling it themselves? A customer, if they want to close an account, they should be able to go back to their console, close the account, get a refund. These questions should not come to us, right? And this is a thought process now, because we are looking at AI and automation and customer. So representatives have started to think whether the work that they are doing, is that valuable or is that not valuable? Could they focus on a debugging ticket and spend more time there versus account closure? So I feel like it's definitely evolving in the positive direction. And they are expected to have more and more skill set and do more challenging work, which was always the notion about support teams, that this job is not challenging. This is a routine job that someone needs to take, which is why promotions, growth, everything would take a lot of time. So yes, I feel like it'll become more valuable, and the contribution towards the organization will improve as a whole. But obviously, the sizes of support teams will become smaller.
Sure. So it sounds like you are at the very least already starting to see some shift with the perspectives and things and the outlooks for yourself and your team with automation and finding ways to leverage it and make your lives easier with some of the more smaller scale tasks that you can focus on kind of the bigger picture issues.
Right. There's another important point which I missed on sharing, is that agents becoming more consultative, So now I don't have to just answer yes or no questions. I can actually tell you whether you're even using our product the right way or not. And that is such an add-on, because that's what a customer is reaching out to you for. They're not reaching out to get a yes or a no answer. They're reaching out because they feel like they're stuck somewhere, and who can help that person? We can help that person. And I feel like, because now we don't have to do these routine tasks, we can actually focus on building some of these skill sets and be more consultative in our approach to customer support.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I think that there's such an important role that your team plays in the world of making sure that customer expectations are met in the way that they hope to be, so that you can kind of build that customer loyalty and brand loyalty and keep people wanting to come back. So that's really wonderful to hear. Awesome. Well, so my next question is, how do you think the increasing importance of customer experience and satisfaction has shaped the customer support industry, and what steps should companies take to prioritize these areas?
This is a great question, David. So from a business perspective, it is not just important to get a customer on contract. It is actually harder and critical to retain the customer. This is where customer experience and satisfaction plays such a huge role, because companies can now use support to differentiate themselves in a crowded market, have a positive word of mouth, and foster customer loyalty. So I think it's really critical, but how to even start there? So to begin, you need to understand your customers' expectation, have a feedback loop with your customers. And this is easier with contracted customers, because you have assigned account managers. So you're meeting them regularly. You can understand, what are they expecting? What are they missing? What else can we add on to ensure that they get what they're expecting out of either support and as a business whole, but also from support representatives. Implement the right tools and technology. Use automation to automate as many questions as you can. Give customers self-serve options for them to perform tasks that are routine. They don't have to reach out to someone. There's no need to try to create as less delays in finding a solution as possible. have the right metrics. Just CSAT alone is not sufficient anymore. Sometimes customers, CSAT is actually is based on how the customer is feeling. Sometimes a customer could, a support agent could spend days working on a customer issue, and the customer may give you a DSAT, not because they are unhappy with the support, but just because the amount of time that it took to resolve the issue. Sometimes a customer agent may give you a wrong answer, but they were really quick in responding. So a customer would give you a CSAT. So CSAT and DSAT are not the right metric right now. You should have NPS, you should have surveys, you should have an ability to escalate. So give them more and more options to interact with the business, so that, or initiate that feedback loop with the customers. And fostering a customer-centric approach, not just with support, but as an organization whole. Because if you don't have a product that is customer-centric, or a product team that is working on customer feedback, then support alone will not be able to make that change. If you don't have the right account managers that customers can reach out to, support alone would not be able to fix that problem. So the change, the approach needs to be on an organization level, so that all teams come together and help out support, because that's the face of the organization, help out support to ensure that customers are taken care of. And then, I think use data and feedback from customers, because if they're raising issues, that's sort of a feedback. This is a feedback about what is not working on your product, and use that wisely to enhance your products, or to enhance the offerings that you have for customers. So I feel like essentially what I'm trying to say is that keep the communication going. Once you've onboarded a customer, the journey doesn't start. It actually stops there. The buck actually starts there, because that's when you need to start. If you start ignoring your existing customers and focus on getting new customers, that's not the right approach. The right approach is to retain your existing customers, and then ensure that you're meeting with them regularly, understanding whether their needs are being met, and then improving and changing, enhancing whatever processes that you need to do on your end.
Absolutely. And that goes along with the trends that we've been seeing within, just B2C in general. The cost of retaining a customer is significantly lower than the customer acquisition cost of a brand new customer. So definitely feeds into that same line of thinking, the importance of just making sure that you are meeting the needs of your customers, and making sure that they're having those good experiences, and that you're very aware of their satisfaction level. But beyond that, also, just having the full picture with CSAT, NPS, and CES can really go quite a distance for your business. To that end, how do you think that customer expectations have really changed in the past few years?
A lot, right? Customers today expect businesses to provide instant 24/7 support. They also want to have multiple channels that they can reach out to your support team. No, a customer doesn't have time to stay on the phone, pick up a phone, call someone, stay on the line for 30 minutes. They don't have that time. So they would try to see the fastest way that they can reach out, and the fastest way that they can get a response. They are expecting more and more, it adds on to the convenience or the customer experience that they're looking for. They're also looking for more personalization. A customer does not have the time to explain their use case over and over again. If they've told this to you, or if they've shared that information with you once, then you need to keep that information. And next time when you're working on their issue, you need to find that information and go back to them. They are expecting more transparency. I think customers understand what is leading to a delayed resolution. What they don't like is not sharing how long would it take, so that they could, find some workaround on their end. What they want is for you to be honest about where the issue was. Was it with you? If it was with you, what are you doing to ensure that it doesn't happen again? If it was not with you, if it was with one of the operators, what is your plan? So they are looking for RCAs and more information, just so that they can have more clarity. And from a business perspective as well, right? We need to understand that if something is not working, the customer is running into some sort of issue. They could have, I could have ordered a birthday gift for my friend and I didn't get it on time. Now I'm stuck. But if you don't tell me that whether I will receive it by the day that I need it or not, I would not be able to make a plan. Should I go ahead and buy it from somewhere else? Should I ask for a refund? I would not be able to do that. Similarly, if I'm using your platform to send messages and something stops, I'm not able to send messages. My customers are waiting on me. So if you tell me honestly what's going on, I can go back and figure out a solution for that. But versus if I say, we're getting back, we're working. So sharing ETAs, sharing as much information as you can possibly with customers is really helpful, because that also, customers also start to trust you, that you're honest with them. You will keep them informed about anything that impacts them, because you're considerate about what they may be going through on their end. Also, more empathy and speed. And all of these points that I talk about, I think adds on to empathy. Like if you empathize with them, you would be able to share more information. You will do everything that you can to resolve issues faster. And I think that's what it comes to. They want it to be quick. You, as fast as you can, get back to me and solve my problem. And then so that we can move on to the next thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely in line with more and more as customer service and customer support becomes more modernized with the products that you have available. It would make sense that they would expect more speed with customers having access to a support agent at all times. They expect that regardless of time of day, regardless of when their problem may take place, they want to know kind of what's the status. How can I expect this to be corrected? And going back to your birthday present point, like, do I need to go get another gift from another competitor that would actually be able to fulfill my need within the given time frame? So definitely all very important. With that in mind, so kind of diving into the data and analytics side of support, can you share any insight on how you and your team, or just generally the use of data and analytics factors into customer support, and how data-driven approaches can enhance the overall customer experience?
Yeah, sure. I'm a huge advocate of looking at your data. And I'm not talking about customer data. I'm talking about the issues that are coming into you, the tickets that are coming, because we talked about, how that is a feedback on what is not working right, and how that is an opportunity for you to fix whatever is not right? So what kind of issues do we receive on daily, weekly, monthly basis? What product are we facing most issues on? Are there any enhancements required in the product? Which support channel do customers find more convenient? Do they like reaching out with email? Do they prefer Slack? Do they prefer phone? Which also gives you insight about where should you add more agents to, if that's what that's the platform that the customers are expecting you to respond faster to. Are you tracking escalations? Do you know which customers are raising most queries? Is it your contract customer? Is it a self-serve customer? What is our response time, resolution time? What training do we need to conduct for our support engineers internally? How satisfied are our customers? If these are questions, these are just some of the questions that you get an answer only if you start looking at ticket trends and patterns. And all of this, if you look at it, all of these just don't help with response and resolution time. They help with an overall improvement with the product, with how a business communicates with their customers. Let's say there is a customer change that's supposed to happen, and we delayed that communication and sent it last minute. Something is going off, and now we've started to receive a lot of tickets. That is a feedback for the business that we should have given ample amount of time to our customers, or we need to extend the deadline. So anything, if you don't look at it, you can just answer questions and not focus on how to solve it. But if you do look into it deeply, you would be able to figure out what needs to be solved so that our customers can see improvement in our communication with them. So I am a huge advocate. I feel like here at Plivo, we do monthly trend analysis and share it with product, with marketing, with sales, SCs, all the departments, so that they see what kind of interactions are we having with our customers. And they can, sometimes you don't even come up with a great idea. Someone else will come up with that, because you're sharing that data with someone else, and they'll be like, oh, I think, how about you do this? Maybe if you tweak this process a little bit, it will help out. So I feel like that So it's not just for you, but for an entire organization. It's such a valuable piece of information and should not be ignored.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that it spurs a lot of innovation and gives a lot of people a voice with feeling I mean, when you're backing your words up with data, it's a lot easier to raise your hand and say, hey, this is something that I've noticed, and I think that we need to make this change here. So I think that that's really encouraging just from a growth perspective for the people on your team as well, to be able to enhance the overall experience that they're able to provide to customers through that. Awesome. Well, I only have two more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. But the next one that I have here is, what channels do you personally find to be the most effective for resolving the support needs of your customers?
There's no right channel. I feel like the effectiveness of different support channels depends on the nature of customer's issue and customer's preference. So phone support is not a great tool for customer if they need to be put on hold for long times because you have to look for information. And email support is not the best tool for customers who have an urgent issue that needs to be looked into. So talking to them would actually assure them that you're looking into it. So in my opinion, using a combination of tools is a great way to ensure that a business is able to provide the support that meets the needs of their customers. Self-serve options are also a great way to reduce the number of questions that are coming into support, giving more and more control to the customer, building an extensive FAQ. Chatbots and AI are such a great addition because you can provide instant 24 support for simple issues, and you don't need to have a person managing those. So I feel like there's no right tool, but it's a combination and mix of all the tools. Ensure that you have all the options available for your customers and let them pick, and ensure that, if they pick, then which is what we were talking about, making it easier or convenient for the customers to get in touch with support. So don't go by what you think is right, go by what your customers would think is the right tool, and give them all of those options.
Sure. So it sounds like it really is about understanding where your customers are going to be specifically and meeting them kind of in that place, instead of expecting them all to come in via one channel that you excel at specifically.
Right. And that is where, when you talk about like global support teams, having multiple languages, the reason is now it's not about your customers reaching you. Now it's about you reaching your customers. So understanding what they require. So which is why you have to look at what you as a business are going to do, and then plan your support strategy according to that, so that you are going to your customers and saying, we are always here. If you need, these are the channels that we have, reach out and we'll take care of you.
Fantastic. That's great. Awesome. Well, I will ask this last question, and then I'll let you be on your way. And that is, if you had one feature on your customer support tool wish list, what would that be and why?
I think we already touched on both of these. This is a great question. But the two that I am a huge advocate for is data. Using data. Don't ignore it. It is so essential. It can give you so much more information, things that you don't, because when you're building a product, you are building it a product as per a business. But when customers start using it, that approach changes, because now if you want more customers, then you need to understand the feedback that they're giving and then work on that. And so getting information about all of these, finding trends and patterns, and collaborating with different teams on a regular basis to share these trends and patterns can be so helpful for the business. So your tool should definitely have an ability to create custom reports and modify the data as you want it to. But the second one is also integrating with different tools. Just having your tool by itself may not be the best option. The ability to integrate it with different tools allows your support reps to have more information about the customer, to resolve customer issues faster. So if you're working on a tool that's just working by itself, it's a waste, because then your engineers have to waste so much more time on finding the right information before they can even start working on a customer issue. So try to give them as much information as possible so that they only have to look at one screen and work out of that screen. It increases their efficiency so much more. So I feel like these are two. I know you asked for one, but I'm giving you two. Just I feel like they both are so critical and important.
Absolutely. No, I'm not going to complain about getting more answers than I bargained for. That's excellent context for us, and we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come answer these questions for us and talk us through your view on customer support as really kind of a space in an industry that is growing rapidly and being modernized with cutting edge new tools that are coming out every single day. So thank you so much for coming out and chatting with us about everything that you're doing. It sounds like you and your team are doing some really wonderful things, and really excited to kind of see what comes next for you guys in Plivo, and to see how you guys are leveraging kind of the modern age of customer support going into the future. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure. It was great to chat with you.